There is only one corner of the universe that you can be sure to improve, and that is yourself. Aldous Huxley, profound wisdom about human agency in life. The universe is vast. The world is ever-changing. The people around us are complex and unpredictable. So many things lie beyond our control. We cannot force circumstances to change as we wish, nor can we compel others to think or act according to our desires. But amid all these uncertainties, there still exists a small space where we hold absolute power. Our own inner world, thoughts, and actions is not a journey of showmanship or chasing perfection, but a quiet and persistent process. It is when we learn to understand ourselves better, recognizing our strengths to cultivate them and our weaknesses to adjust. Like tending a small garden in the midst of a vast desert, we cannot change the climate, but we can water it, weed it, and patiently wait for the green shoots to grow. Each small change in thinking, each good habit formed, is a real improvement, quiet yet deeply meaningful. When focusing on self-improvement, people stop blaming the world and waste less energy on things beyond control. Instead of complaining about injustice, we learn to become more resilient. Instead of waiting for others to change, we start with ourselves. This very change, though originating from a small corner, has a powerful ripple effect. When a person becomes better than yesterday, their surrounding environment gradually changes too, through actions, attitudes, and way of life. The path to growth does not lie in conquering the whole world, but in conquering oneself. In a vast and unpredictable universe, striving each day to become a better version of ourselves is the surest thing we can do. And from that small corner, the meaning of life takes shape, enduring and profound. The best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. H. Jackson Brown, Jr. Tomorrow is always what people look forward to, but it lies beyond the grasp of certainty. We can predict, hope, even worry, but no one truly controls what will happen. That is why this saying brings us back to the only thing we hold, the present. Today, with every thought, choice, and action, is the only soil where the future is sown. Doing your best does not mean straining or exhausting yourself, but living fully with what you have. It is focusing on the task at hand, learning earnestly from what is happening, and not procrastinating on your responsibilities. Like a builder laying each brick solidly, the future is not built from vague plans, but from specific, steady efforts in the present. A day lived fully may not yield immediate results, but it quietly accumulates strength for the days ahead, alleviates anxiety about tomorrow. When we have done our best today, we can face the future with peace. Whatever the outcome, regret often arises not from failure, but from the feeling, if only I had tried harder. Conversely, when we have poured our heart into the present, failure, if it comes, becomes a lesson, not a burden. This spirit helps people stand firmer against unforeseen changes. The future is not something to wait for, but something built day by day. When we live responsibly today, tomorrow ceases to be a source of anxiety and becomes a natural reward for our efforts. And in the flow of time, doing our best in the present is the most sustainable and meaningful preparation for a better tomorrow. Ever tried? Ever failed? No matter. Try again. Fail better. Samuel Beckett offers no sweet promises of success, nor does it hide the harshness of reality. Failure is named directly, repeated, as an inevitable part of the human journey in seeking value and meaning in life. But what makes the saying powerful is not failure itself, but the attitude toward it. Ever tried is the beginning of all change. Just daring to try is already a small victory over fear and hesitation. Ever failed is the price paid for that commitment, a price no one avoids if they want to step out of their comfort zone. But instead of denying or despairing, the saying gently affirms, no matter. This phrase opens a space of compassion for humanity, where failure is no longer a sentence, but an experience. Try again is an act of courage. After falling, the hardest part is not standing up, but accepting to continue with the memory of pain still there, and then fail again. Failure does not disappear just because we persist. But this time, it is not the same as before. Each subsequent failure carries experience, understanding, and greater depth. That is the meaning of fail better. Failing consciously, failing but not in vain. Between giving up and growing, the weak see failure as the end. The strong see it as a comma. Each fall helps people understand their limits better, adjust their path, and get closer to a better version of themselves. Success, if it comes, is not a reward for never failing, but the result of never stopping despite failures. The value of a person lies not in how many times they fall, but in daring to rise and what they learn from each fall. When people accept failure as part of the path, they no longer fear it, and in that acceptance, inner strength is forged, step by step, through each fail better. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. Everett Hale, A Journey of Human Development in Relationships and Collectives. 3 successive steps from the initial starting point to the highest destination, where individual values blend into shared strength. Coming together is the first step, often created by chance encounters, initial emotions, or a common goal. It could be the moment strangers find each other in a group, an organization, or a relationship. But the beginning, no matter how beautiful, is still just a door newly opened. It is fragile, like a newly kindled flame, needing to be nurtured and protected, lest it flicker out before the first differences and challenges. Keeping together, thus, becomes a sign of progress. As time passes, initial emotions fade, difficulties and conflicts arise. Staying together requires more than excitement. It demands understanding, respect, and patience. Keeping together does not mean no conflicts, but knowing how to overcome them without losing the core value of the relationship. This is the stage where people learn to listen, adjust their ego, and prioritize connection over personal victory. But only when working together does success truly form. Working together is not merely coexisting, but aiming toward a common goal, sharing responsibilities, and creating value together. Like gears in a machine, each individual has a unique role, but only when operating in harmony does the whole system move efficiently. Success, then, is no longer one person's victory, but the result of coordination, trust, and unity. In any relationship or collective, the beginning is the easiest to have, but success is the outcome of a long process requiring shared effort. When people cherish that journey from meeting, bonding, to accompanying, they not only build sustainable success, but also create deep connections where each individual grows together. A man may die, nations may rise and fall, but an idea lives on. John F. Kennedy. History, Time, and Human Aspirations. A person, no matter how great, is just a finite dot in the endless flow of life. Nations, seemingly as enduring as mountains, also have times of prosperity and decline, like waves large and small, succeeding each other on the ocean of history. But rising above all those limits, an idea quietly endures, like an eternal flame, passed from one generation to the next. An idea has no concrete form, yet it has the power to shape the destiny of humanity. It is like the North Star in the dark night, not directly guiding the ship to shore, but always pointing the direction so people do not lose their way. When a person falls, the idea they believed in does not die with them. On the contrary, it can become stronger, nourished by sacrifice and faith. When a nation weakens, its core idea still silently endures in the heart of the people, waiting to rise like green sprouts after a long, cold winter. The greatest value of a person lies not in biological existence or temporary power, but in the ideas they dare to pursue and preserve. An idea is what helps people overcome fear, stand firm against changes, and not collapse before failure. It is the red thread connecting past, present, and future, making every individual effort meaningful in the grand picture of humanity. When deeply understanding this saying, we learn to live beyond our finite self, live not just to exist, but to contribute a small part to a grand idea, one that will remain when our name fades with time. That brings people a profound consolation and a source of positive energy, that though we are small, if attached to the right idea, our existence will never be meaningless. With great power comes great responsibility. Stanley, the inseparable relationship between power and duty in the journey of being human. Power, whether in the form of knowledge, authority, talent, or influence, always carries two sides like a sharp blade. If used rightly, it can pave the way, support, and create. But if abused or neglected in responsibility, it can also injure, destroy, and leave long-lasting consequences. Therefore, responsibility is not a burden accompanying power, but the necessary compass to keep that power on track. Great responsibility arises because power not only affects the possessor, but also spreads to those around and the community. A word from an influential person can become belief for thousands. A decision from someone in power can change the fate of an entire group. Power, then, is like fire. In the hands of one who knows how to tend it, it warms and illuminates. In the hands of the careless, it can burn everything. Responsibility is the awareness to control that fire, so it serves good instead of feeding the ego. True maturity lies not in possessing how much power, but in the ability to shoulder corresponding responsibility. The strong are not those who stand above others, but those who stand for what is right, even if it requires sacrifice. Great responsibility forces people to think deeper before acting, to consider consequences, and to put common good above personal gain. When understanding this, people will no longer crave power blindly, but learn to perfect themselves to be worthy of what they have. Power, guided by responsibility, becomes a positive force, helping society develop sustainably and people live more meaningfully. That is the enduring value the saying leaves. Power does not make people grow, but responsibility is what makes them noble. You cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. Indira Gandhi. How people face life and each other. Clenched fist is an image of holding tight, closing off, perhaps fear of loss, stubbornness in thinking, or an ego too large to make room for others. When the hand is closed, it only has space for what it holds, no room to receive something new. Therefore, the handshake symbol of connection, trust, and sharing cannot happen if people still cling tightly to what is theirs. To build relationships, people need to learn to let go. Letting go is not losing, but opening up. Like relaxing the hand, we do not drop our own value, but create opportunity for connection and cooperation. In life, often we cannot go far, not because of lack of ability, but because we refuse to open our hearts, clinging to prejudices, holding on to old hurts, or closing off to different perspectives. The handshake is reconciliation and empathy. Two people can only touch each other when both are ready to open their hands, ready to place trust in the other. If one side still clenches, the handshake becomes awkward, even impossible. This also applies to one's own inner self. Only when we release tension, let go of fear and resentment, can we shake hands with opportunity, with change, and with a better version of ourselves. To receive connection, first, learn to open the heart. When the hand opens, the world is no longer a place of confrontation, but of meetings. And in that moment of letting go, people find lightness, understanding, and more enduring relationships on the journey of life. I'd rather die of passion than of boredom. Vincent van Gogh. Those who yearn to live fully as themselves does not advocate reckless daring, but affirms the core value of life, living with fire, purpose, and a reason to wake each morning. Boredom does not kill people immediately, but it erodes the spirit day by day, making life bland and meaningless, like a lamp still there, but its light faded. In contrast, passion is the fire burning in the heart, which may tire, hurt, even cost, but it is the price of a life truly lived. Passion carries commitment and acceptance of risk. When living for passion, people dare to step out of comfort zones, dare to face failure and doubts. It is like choosing to climb a high mountain. The path may be rugged, the wind biting cold, but each step has meaning, for the summit is ahead. Boredom is different, like standing still in a familiar valley, safe but confining, where days pass identically without leaving a trace in memory, who are living but not truly alive. Biological existence does not equal spiritual life. A long life in numb habits, in identical days, can be more frightening than death. Passion, even small, is enough to make people feel present, creating value and moving forward. Ultimately, die of passion is not a tragic end, but a symbol of choosing to live fully. It reminds us that time is finite, and the scariest thing is not failure, but never daring to try. When people live with passion, whatever the outcome, they can smile peacefully, knowing they did not let life slip by in boredom and regret. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. The hidden potential in every person is an affirmation of the decisive role of mindset and belief in conquering life. Every great achievement in history, from inventions that changed the world to seemingly impossible victories, started from a vague notion in the mind, nurtured by persistent belief and unyielding will. The human mind is like fertile soil. When planted with positive conceptions and strong belief, it sprouts into action, then bears fruit as results. Conversely, if the mind is covered by doubt and fear, even with opportunity right before them, people struggle to grasp it. Conceiving is not just fanciful dreaming, but the ability to see a future different from the present, daring to imagine oneself better, stronger, and setting goals beyond familiar limits. Belief is the bridge between conception and reality. When people truly believe in what they pursue, that belief quietly directs daily thoughts, words, and actions. It is like an underground stream, not noisy, but persistent, strong enough to erode rock over time. Even if the road ahead is full of challenges, belief helps people stand firm, seeing failure as a lesson, not the end. In the toughest times, belief becomes an invisible source of strength, urging people to continue when reason is weary. The greatest limit of people lies not in circumstances, but in their own thinking. When the mind is imprisoned by the fear of impossible, life shrinks accordingly. But when people dare to expand their vision and believe in their abilities, the world seems to open new paths. Success, then, is no longer distant, but a natural result of a persistent process where right mindset leads to right action, a source of positive energy and full of hope. That every person possesses the power to change their life. Just dare to conceive a better future and have enough belief to pursue it to the end. People will step by step turn the seemingly impossible into reality. That is the magic starting from the mind. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So, throw off the bowlines. Sail away from the safe harbor. Catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. Mark Twain. The sound of waves reminding people of the value of commitment. The greatest regret in life often lies not in falls, but in dreams that once appeared, then were quietly buried by ourselves due to fear, hesitation, or the habit of safety. The things we did, success or failure, still leave clear marks in memory, helping us grow. The things not done, they silently grow with time, becoming hard to fill voids in the soul. The image of throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor is a beautiful metaphor for the moment people choose to leave the familiar. The safe harbor symbolizes stability, predictability, and low risk. But there, the ship will forever be just a ship that never set sail. Only by daring to cut the ropes, daring to let the trade winds fill the sails, can people truly know how far they can go. The wind may be strong, the waves large, but those challenges make the journey memorable. Does not advocate meaningless recklessness, but encourages a spirit of courageous and proactive living. Dare to explore is daring to learn from the vast world. Dare to dream is daring to believe one's life can be different from today. Dreams are like a distant lighthouse, not always reachable immediately, but enough to guide through the vast sea. If not setting sail, we will never know how meaningful that light is. Time passes faster than we think, and each day gone is an opportunity to choose to live more fully. 20 years later, looking back, what makes us smile is not always being safe, but having dared to step, to try, to dream. And those voyages, long or short, make a life worth living. Let us sacrifice our today so that our children can have a better tomorrow. A. P. J. Abdul Kalam. The spirit of responsibility and love transcending the limits of personal ego, endurance, but a choice of ethics and long-term vision of people before the flow of time. Today symbolizes conveniences, desires, and immediate benefits, while the tomorrow of children is the image of hope, of a future not yet formed, but full of promise. Between those two, sacrifice becomes a quiet but enduring bridge. Is not necessarily grand or heroic, but often present in very ordinary things. Parents working tirelessly so children can study, accepting disadvantages so children have better opportunities, silently bearing hardships so children live in better conditions. Those sacrifices are like sowing seeds in dark soil, the sower not knowing for sure when the tree will grow, but still patiently tending with faith that the sweet fruit season will come. They may not fully enjoy the fruits, but happiness lies in seeing the next generation rise stronger than themselves. Extends beyond family, becoming a philosophy for society, a generation ready to sacrifice short-term benefits for long-term future will create a solid foundation for sustainable development. That is when people know to put responsibility above enjoyment. Think further for those not yet able to speak. Sacrifice today, guided by wisdom and compassion, will not become loss, but an investment for the future. Live not only for our own present, but for the future of those we love. When people accept stepping back one step so the next generation advances too, that life is not small. On the contrary, it becomes grand, for in that silent sacrifice, a better tomorrow is gradually forming. It is perseverance, persistence, and perseverance in spite of all obstacles, discouragements, and impossibilities. It is this, in all things, which distinguishes the strong soul from the weak. Thomas Carlyle. Not innate talent or favorable circumstances, but focuses on a quiet quality, the ability to stand firm when everything is against you. In the journey of life, difficulties are not unusual, but an inevitable rule. It is how people face those obstacles, the feeling of fatigue, and limits seemingly impossible to overcome, that reveals the essence of their soul. A strong soul is not one that knows no fear or discouragement, but one that does not let those emotions decide the stopping point. Perseverance is like water flowing over rock, not noisy, not hasty, but persistent enough to wear down what seems unchanging. Each fall, the resilient do not ask why me, but remind themselves, how can I continue? It is the repetition of effort, even small, that creates the clear gap between those who quit and those who go far. Conversely, a weak soul often collapses, not because difficulties are too great, but because faith is too fragile. When meeting the first obstacle, they easily see it as the sign of ultimate failure, instead of as an inevitable part of growth. The impossibilities often exist only in thought, and can only be broken by perseverance long enough to turn doubt into experience, failure into lesson. The true strength of people lies not in speed or instant victory, but in the ability not to abandon oneself. In every area of life, from study, work, to relationships, perseverance is the invisible boundary dividing weak from strong. And when people understand the value of continuing even slowly, even tired, they will realize that perseverance has quietly turned them into a stronger version each day. Happiness can only be had in acceptance. George Orwell is not resignation or surrender to fate, but understanding and reconciliation with what cannot be changed, while awake to what is within one's ability. When people resist reality with resentment and comparison, happiness becomes a distant destination. Conversely, when knowing acceptance, the mind eases, the heart lightens, and happiness has space to bloom. Acceptance is like relaxing the shoulders after a long road. We no longer strain against our shortcomings, no longer torment over the past, or fear excessively about the future. Life is inherently imperfect, as are people. There are losses that cannot be compensated, limits that cannot be surpassed, and things that happen beyond wishes. When refusing acceptance, pain is prolonged. When accepting, pain is soothed and transformed into growth. Happiness comes not from getting everything one wants, but from cherishing what one has. Acceptance helps people view life with more tolerant eyes toward others and oneself. It allows us to err, to be imperfect, but not stop loving ourselves for that. Like water reflecting the sky only when still, the human soul feels happiness only when ceasing resistance and learning serenity. Happiness is not a reward at the road's end, but a mental state that can be present right now. When people accept life as it is, with abundance and lacks, happiness is no longer to be sought, but something touchable, simple, enduring, and true.